8:09. 2 days as we count down to another kind of happiness. That time of year when the year dies and we say Happy New Year. Yes,
the year dies or it just moves on?
Well, it moves on, dies. What's the difference?
Die sounds so drastic.
Yeah.
I know.
It was more about the happiness though, but we probably do want the year to go away, right?
But the years age like how we age over the years. So we could put it like that. So it doesn't necessarily die. The years seem to just have everlasting life, you realize? Because the years just change. They just change and it goes on and on from century to century. Yeah.
I guess.
I'm just trying to keep the year alive. Well, the year's alive, not this year. Because as you rightfully said, it's 2 more days and then that's it. I was telling my best friend this morning. Good morning, Mervin. My forever best friend, I have to say. I was getting vexed. Because I'm just thinking in 2 days I have to pay bills again.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Does anybody else get vexed when it comes to paying bills?
I know, because you're like, how come you never get, no one is sending you checks or running you down to give you money, right?
But it's always running down to pay bills.
Yeah,
and I was just getting vexed. I was like, man.
Absolutely.
Maybe somebody have an antidote where I can calm down. Because as I was telling him, I find the older I get, then the more annoyed and vexed I get. Yeah, that's just my confession this morning. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing this morning? Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning to the regional and international diaspora. Well, y'all saw how myself and my lovely partner here, Jamsta, started out. Yeah, the dying year, the living year, whatever year. We hope that you're grateful that you've been brought thus far in the year. For those of you celebrating today, happy birthday on behalf of us here at Win FM. Oh, my cousin in Tortola is actually celebrating. So happy birthday, Delai. Or is it tomorrow? Wait, I think I'm mixing it up. But if it's your birthday, happy birthday, yeah. I don't know. And for everybody else that's celebrating, enjoy your day and tell me, do you two get vexed when you think about bills and that you just pay bills in December? You had to pay bills in the next 2 days? After the next 2 days? Well, the next 3 days?
Maybe that.
That's my plight this morning.
Yeah, they're inevitable. You know what they say.
Why they gotta be inevitable though?
Yeah, because they say 2 things are certain in life: death and taxes.
Stroops.
Yeah, but it's true. Death and taxes.
Can I complain some more about not wanting to pay bills? Oh my gosh. Oh boy.
December 30th, and we gotta work tomorrow, right?
I know, yeah. But at least we don't have to pay bills until the 3rd of March. Good morning, Sharon. At least we do not have to pay bills until the 3rd of March. You see, I go on straight to March. Sorry, folks. I have nothing on hire purchase. I mean the 3rd of January.
Oh, I was wondering.
Listen, you see how I did a higher purchase vibe right there? I went straight to March.
I was wondering if the Prime Minister had announced that he was paying bills for everyone for the next year.
Yo, that would be sweet.
Yeah.
But we know then all of us will be broke because we have to pay back for the kitty to get healthy for those bills to be paid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had Panorama last night.
Oh yeah, I didn't even.
I
was tired.
I don't know the results. So
you don't know the results?
I'm gonna be finding out. I didn't go.
Does our good friend next to you know the results? No.
Well, someone else knows because as soon as I picked up my phone. Let me see. Oh, let's look at the Caribbean talented team first. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at that. I wasn't about to pay for that.
Yeah, so
sorry.
Paywall. Yeah, so I was told. Someone sent me the link.
And who won?
And I just sent it without. And then someone did tell me that there might be a paywall. The 42nd edition of the Hainsmith Talented Teen Pageant delivered an unforgettable night of elegance, talent, and pageantry in Tortola, British Virgin Islands. So the people who don't know, starting this year, the Hainsmith Caribbean Talented Teen.
It's going to move around.
Yes, move around the Caribbean. And they started off in Tortola this year. So,
did we win?
Well, let me see now. Pageantry, talent, elegance exploded in Tortola, British Virgin Islands. Miss St. Kitts and Nevis, Caitlin Wilson. Wow. emerged as the queen, captivating the audience with her brilliance and
Yay,
poise.
congrats, Kate.
I am not surprised.
We
actually.
won. We won.
I'm actually not surprised.
So it's Miss Sinkit's next, then it's Miss JC's, and then it's whatever else you want to do.
First runner-up was BVI, second runner-up Anguilla, and third runner-up Miss Antigua Barbuda.
Okay.
Special awards: Best Talent, Miss St. Kitts Nevis; Best Evening Wear, Miss St. Croix; Best Theatrical Shiro Costume, okay, Miss St. Croix; and Miss Congeniality, Miss Anguilla. So those are the results from the...
What about Best Interview? They didn't do Best Interview for the young ones?
Maybe not.
Oh, okay.
So, so that's the first of the roving Miss Hainsmith Caribbean Talented Teen Pageants. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Yeah, congratulations.
And, so let's see. So congratulations to the EBJ Harmonic Steel Orchestra winners of first federal.
What else did we
Credit Union.
expect?
Yeah, and the cable Panama.
Ain't nobody there to beat them yet.
I know, and
oh boy, I just knew it, but I didn't know it. But you have the sense that you know it. Yeah. But I wasn't aware that they were the winners. But I just know there's nobody else, and they seem to work very hard, and they take the art very serious. Because remember, the gentleman that was in charge of them, he was Trini, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
EBJ
So
himself.
he already put in the hard work. And they are just, Mr. Byron and company are just carrying it on.
But he was actually based over here.
Who?
Boots.
Mr. Boots, yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
but I was just trying to make sure I had his origin correct. Yeah, which is Trinidad. So, yeah, he would have done the hard work. And as I said, Mr. Byron and company continues to do the hard work. So, good morning to you. Congratulations on your win again. And for the other commiserations to the other entrants. And may you beat them 1 year. Yeah. Just work hard.
And it says Nevis Community Development Steel Orchestra is second with 374 points. Sugar City Steel Orchestra 372 points. So look at the point spread.
How much
EBJ,
is the EBJ?
418. And second 374. Third 372.
So they wasn't far off.
No. Well,
Okay.
I mean, relatively speaking. Number one was much further away from 2 and 3, and number 2 was only 2 points away from number 3. So yeah.
And can we also, did we speak about the Calypso last week? Or the show was after our show?
The show was Friday. Yeah, so it was after. Oh yeah, so Druzy.
So congrats, Tariq, and commiserations to all the others that placed. That's, I think, Miss Independent and Big Lice. Queen Independent. Oh Lord, hear me saying Miss Independent.
Well, Miss Independent, that's the name of her name. Queen is not her name. Queen is just a title.
Oh, Queen was when she's queen. Well, she's always a queen, she's a lady, so she's a queen.
I always it's a convention we observe here, which isn't observed anywhere else. I mean, we don't always say King Sparrow. Sparrow is the name of the artist. You win a crown, sure, that's fine, but it sounds strange when you keep saying
Queen
Miss Independent. We all know you're Queen, Miss Independent, or whatever.
Yeah, okay. So
that's at least that's what I do, and it's what I notice in say Trinidad and so on. I mean, Gabby has been king. No one goes around saying King Gabby or King Griner or King.
We never know.
iWeb.
Sparrow,
it's just iWeb.
King Sparrow, Queen Independent.
you know.
I get what you're saying though. I totally get you. Totally.
It's always sounds so strange to hear. Queen singing Jackie, and why can't it just be Jackie? You don't say singing Big Lice. You know what I mean?
Because Big Lice is just a big lice.
No, but I mean, I always wonder why the weird conventions that apply to women that don't apply to the men.
Yeah, everything weird applies to women.
Singing this, singing that.
Because just like how the guys could have plenty girlfriends and be seen as a hero, but if the girl has plenty boyfriends, she's not. So yeah, we always get the rougher end of it.
Singing this, singing that. Lady this, lady that. Well, that's fine because you have Lord. You can have Lord this, Lord that, Lord Black.
Yeah.
You know, Lord Cut. Okay, that's fine. But
but the rest just don't apply unless you are in the position. It sounds a tad bit better.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Alrighty, fair enough. And on the sadder side of life, well, not sadder, condolences to those families that would have lost family members in the in the South Korean crash. Imagine you landed, but your aircraft just decided it's gonna skid, and
Yeah, the landing gear.
I wish they had gotten off to the side. It might have stopped, because being as smooth as it was to land on a smooth runway too, that didn't help. So
And
condolences.
You would have thought that having landed, that more people would have lived, right?
Yeah, only the 2 flight attendants in the back. I wonder if that day they wish they were in the front. You know, things happen.
They wish they were in the front?
No, I said I wonder if that day they wish they were like premier cabin service members. Because, you know, some people like that, being in the front, because you have the who's in the front, the tippers. Yeah. So I wonder how they felt being in the back, being the sole survivor. And, you know, sometimes you have to go through things to understand why you weren't placed in a certain position, and just be grateful that in life you shouldn't even worry about where you are. Like, just take it easy and wait for your turn.
Yeah, I don't even think any all that stuff applies. Like, I just think stuff just happens.
No, trust me, I think deep. I go very, very, very deep. Like Saturday morning, I overslept. I guess I was extremely tired, right? So Saturday morning, I overslept. I had the weirdest dream ever. I dreamt a plane, a Dash 8 to be exact, crashed, but everybody came out well. And you know, by Saturday night, I'm hearing an Air Canada Dash 8 crash, and the colors in my dream were the exact same. So I'm like, Lord, did you
Are
give
you
me
serious?
I'm dead serious.
When
we had
was
like
this?
4 different incidents on Saturday.
Really?
9 p.m. Yeah, the engine, the landing gear caught fire, but they landed safely though. So everybody got out. So I was like, oh wow. Was I seeing things? I know it wasn't deja vu, because I told my husband I overslept, and I even told my coworkers at work I dreamt, because all of us was there at the plane crash site, and the flight attendants were just hugging each other as they come out, and the passengers and whatever, they clear the passengers and then the flight attendants come out, and that's the way it should be done. So, and then we had the KLM flight that skid off the runway. They were en route from Oslo, Norway to Amsterdam, so they had to land at the next airport.
I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, in Oslo, in Norway, because they developed the left engine, I think, caught fire. And then we had the one that Russia apologized for. What is it called? Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, yeah, that one. That Putin apologized for, because apparently their missile hit it. Everybody didn't die. They had some survivors in that one, but yeah.
Yeah,
that's like 4 of them, and the 179 out of 181. So only those 2 flight attendants survived.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I figured it was people from the tail end of the plane. Did they get injured?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know they're the only 2.
Did you see the guy on the Azerbaijani flight?
No, that was speaking about it.
To? Yeah.
No, I said I was supposed to look at that, but I didn't. Yeah.
He's very calm, and
that's how you have to be. Because I told folks, if that's the way I have to go, why would I be screaming? There's basically unless we're gonna land on land and hope that the aircraft stays intact. What else can we do? Scream our way to death? I'm not gonna scream. I'm just gonna do what I have to do.
Boy.
Because I think when you're a crew, you have to come to terms. I don't know if everybody think the same as I would. You have to come to terms with stuff. What's to be is going to be, and what's not to be is not going to be. But you just go to work positive every day and just hope for the best. And that's what I did for 12 years. And I'm alive. I'm still here. It's unfortunate that we must have aircraft, or we do have aircraft accidents. And we lose lives in the process. That's rough. I was looking at the statistics for that, and from 1970 to now, we've had 11,164 aircraft incidents. That's what we call them. We don't call them.
You mean worldwide?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't got nothing over here, thank God.
Yeah.
Knock on everything, because we don't want anything to happen to our planes in this region or that region.
Yeah, and you also heard President Carter died.
Yeah, at 100.
Longest living
Yeah.
president ever.
Yeah.
Um,
So condolences to his family as well.
I saw where also Vivian West, know that name?
No,
She's a
it
a
sounds
fashion
familiar.
designer from the UK. I think she died as well.
What? Let me Google her because
Yeah.
I've heard the
Vivian-
name, but I don't know
Vivian
what she's
Westwood.
affiliated with. Vivian Westwood, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me 1 second.
There was some other death I'm trying to remember. There was but President Carter, there's a guy who really should have gotten 2 terms. It came out afterwards, for example. I don't know if you know much about that period, but this was the period when Iran, there was a lot of turmoil in the Middle East, and there were these hostages. There were these American hostages that were taken by the Iranians, and around the time of the election when Ronald Reagan was running for the presidency, he worked out a deal with the Iranians to not release the hostages until he won. And as a result, that kind of made, I feel that's one of the reasons why Mr. Carter didn't win a second term, because Mr. Reagan did everything he could to make Mr. Carter look weak.
Oh boy.
And from everything I've read, it seems like he was probably the nicest guy. I mean, he wasn't the typical anti-politician. You could call him what you would call it an anti-politician. He was, he was a Christian. And he seemed to do everything that ran counter to the typical politician playbook. Yeah.
And he still didn't. He got no love.
Result, he got 1 term. But he went on to do a lot of great things post presidency. So, and you could say he was rewarded for it by being the longest lived former president. So yeah, and his wife died last year.
Yeah.
Roughly a year ago, Rosalind Carter.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. That's true love. She gave him 1, but she says, honey, it's time to come home. We need to be reunited.
And during the elections, they were saying that there was a kind of a semi-running joke saying he was a running semi-joke.
Oh, boy.
Saying that he was holding on to make sure that he was able to vote for Kamala Harris.
Aww.
I remember seeing a cartoon, which was pretty funny.
Aww.
I thought, how did it go? I can't even remember. But I remember there was a cartoon last month. No, October. Late October. Illustrating that, which I thought was kind of cleverly done.
That's good. Let him hang on to vote, although we still in win, Don't worry, one day we get in there.
Yeah, I'm sure that made him feel good. Yeah.
That he penned his ex for somebody that made sense.
So the comment today is saying, if you're in a plane and it's about to crash, just pray and hope for the best. Your life is in God's hands now. That guy, the guy that was one of the survivors, and he didn't even seem like he got injured. I just saw a few bruises on his face, and if you didn't know about the plane crash, you might have thought that those could be just like smudges from, I don't know, discolorations.
Okay.
And he seemed so calm and
Was he in the front or the back of the plane?
It has to be here. Was in the back.
The back just seemed to have better odds of surviving.
Yeah,
somehow.
that's known. That's known.
I never understood it, but
no, it makes sense.
How though?
Because notice
you would think. Because look at that, right?
No, it makes sense.
Wait, no, I'm trying to think of something. You see how the South Korea plane landed? To me, it was on the belly, but the back was still being rubbed off. The front didn't look like it was down as much just yet, but the front ended up plunging in and being the death of everybody. Yeah. Just like the ATR in Brazil too. You remember the one that?
So it could
remember
be
the
most
front
people.
was.
I was thinking maybe most people were sitting up front.
I don't know. I don't know.
We'll
have to
known.
dive deep into that one to find out where they were seated.
It's actually known that being at the back is the most likely place to survive. And then just by dint of the fact that you look at the planes and you see the back end, the back third of the plane survived. So it would make sense that if there are seats back there, chances are they would there's a good chance they might survive.
Let's not scare people, because now everybody's gonna want to sit at the back of the plane, and that can't work.
But the guy said, "Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could see that."
Yeah.
But the guy said, the Azerbaijani guy said, well, he actually shot a video while he was in the air.
While he was in there. That's what I'm saying. I wish I had watched the whole thing. I didn't.
And he said, he said very matter of factly, something to the effect of, I figure this is probably gonna be this is just moments before my death, basically, and and his demeanor pre-crash was not much different to still the same calm, matter of fact kind of.
That's what I'm saying. All you have to do is just pray, ask the Lord to forgive you for everything, and if this is your day, just ask Him to. There's not much. I don't want people to fear flying or whatever, but with the way life is going, we have to be realistic as possible and just.
If I happen to be going to Paris, I'm still going. That's not gonna stop me. Or some flight somewhere.
Nothing should stop you.
China, not so much.
Oh boy.
Or India.
Why you gotta be like that? You got a nice KLM flight today. And I just Googled something, and it says, according to several studies, the odds of surviving a plane crash are higher when seated in the rear of the plane compared to the middle or the front. Folks, everybody cannot sit in the back, or else the plane's gonna tip backwards.
Well, they have fights over that now.
Oh boy. A Yahoo analysis of 20 crashes found that the rear section had a 69% survival rate compared to a 56% in the middle and a 49% in the front. A time investigation of 35 years of aircraft accidents data found that the middle rear seats had a 28% fatality rate compared to a 44% for the middle aisle seat. Ooh, so sitting in the middle is beneficial. I still like the aisle seat.
I could kind of see why.
A study of every commercial jet crash in the U.S. from 1971 found that those sitting near the tail were 40% likelier to survive than those in the first few rows. Oh my gosh! It says a chart based on reports from the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that booking a place in the rear cabin offered the highest rate of survival. The middle seats are generally safer than the window or aisle seats because passengers are buffered by the people sitting on either side of them.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
The wings of a plane store fuel, so the middle exit rows are not the safest option.
Caller, go right ahead.
Good morning. You're live on Island Tea.
Good morning, Kortensia.
Hey, good morning.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. Did Putin actually apologize?
He apologized, but
he did.
But he didn't admit any. He just apologized, but didn't admit any wrongdoing. Which kind of.
He apologized, but didn't admit any wrongdoing. Meaning what?
He apologized, but he didn't say exactly what happened. Oh, he didn't take any blame.
Nobody knows for sure exactly what happened. But is he taking responsibility for the fact that it crashed?
Because it's his missile.
Did you get that?
It's a Russian missile hit it.
It sounded very half-hearted, like a very half-hearted apology.
Oh, Lord.
What is he apologizing for?
Well, one thing I noticed with the line of questioning with some of the news outlets and the aviation experts they brought on, I saw 3 separate interviews where essentially the same question was asked at some point. What does it say about Russia what does it say about the Russian military that they mistook a non-combatant aircraft for a combatant aircraft, basically? And I think one of the things that Putin is wrestling with now is the humiliation of I mean, he's already wrestling with the humiliation of Russia, basically just hemorrhaging soldiers and equipment, and you could say goodwill, whatever goodwill they had. But no, here he has a situation where his military is made to look incompetent again, and he probably apologized because he knew what was going on, because everyone knows what's being said, that they likely mistook the plane for a combatant aircraft, and
fog of war kind of thing.
In fact, the Americans are saying they're thinking it might be a battery, an anti-aircraft battery in Chechnya, which was responsible.
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean, it's not the first time things like this happen. Huh? I mean, they call it the fog of war or whatever you want to call it. The thing is, civilian aircraft will be threatened in any war zone. I mean, generally speaking, they don't fly into war zones, but you know, if they're close by, you know, all sorts of things can happen. But you know, it would be nice if you had come straight out and said, "Look, we made a mistake, and this is what happened." I don't think it will take. You should leave it to no investigators. I mean, or the investigation should have been. I'm sure by now he knows whether or not they were the ones who were responsible for shooting it down, and so he should come straight out and do it. But
I'm looking at
usual political, you know, two-step thing. And it contrasts, of course, with Carter, where Carter was perceived as naive and weak and naive because he tended to be straight up. You know, it's really ironic that he's considered not a good president because of some of the things that he did. I remember, for instance, remember he had Andrew Young, the black
Secretary of State, it was?
UN ambassador.
UN ambassador, yeah, okay.
Right. And one of the things that they were up in arms about was the fact that he said that Cuban troops were stabilizing influence in Africa, you know?
Yeah.
And Carter essentially agreed with that, but there was a lot of backlash at home about it, you know? And that's what you get for being straight up, I guess. You got to look at all the nuances and so on before you come straight out and say what really is. Give people a dose of reality.
It's one of the distasteful things about politics that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is why I don't think I could get mixed up in politics.
Well, there's no reason to opt out. I mean, you get more.
There you go again.
And no, but you do get more fallout, and you do get more consequences from not being engaged in politics. Because then,
well, I mean, engage in the
who are engaged, who are attuned with the bad practices of politics, all the deception and corruption and all of that, those are the ones who would triumph. Right? So I would not use that as an excuse not to get involved in politics. You could go in and try and clean up things. You may not succeed, but one step at a time.
I like the fact that you said that second part, Mr. McMahon. You may not succeed. I like that, because that's the eventuality.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of forces against you, and a lot of them we don't understand. I mean, for instance, most of us kind of accept that money plays a huge part in politics, right? We don't see it, but it's there underlying a lot of election victories. And that is bad in itself for democracy, right? If it's a case where the Elon Musk and the Gates and all of those guys, simply because they have huge amounts, they have huge deep pockets, can control things, right? Can manipulate things. Then what's the point calling us democratic? Right? Just say it's almost like going back to the days when, well, you're king and that's it. You know, there's a king, there's royalty, and there's the rest of us, and we must always support the royalty. Live like the peasants and let them live high off the hog, and that's it, right? And in a sense, it's kind of disheartening when you see a new version of the same thing, the same feudal kind of thing, appearing in 2025.
Yeah.
You know, and when you see what amounts to all the vagaries of capitalism, of not so much capitalism, but of colonialism, right? With all the bad practices where one group of people are disadvantaged, and you have to support the lifestyle and so on of an elite group, or one country is totally subjugated to support another country. It appears, although the UN kind of railed against it, most nations rail against it, it appears in a subtle way even now, you know, where the big, strong countries still subjugate the weak ones. Yep. You know, we still get the crumbs. But, you know, it is what it is. But you don't give up. You fight, you fight, and like I just said, and Kortensia absorb. You may not succeed, no, but at some point in the future, you know, things might get better. Things would get better, as Martin Luther King said. But the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. So, you know, sometime in the future things will get better.
You really
we just got to keep hoping.
You really think so?
We just got to keep hoping.
Yeah.
Hoping.
Well, what else do you do? Just throw your hands up? What else do you do?
I mean, one thing I know is that Trump's voters and followers, they're going to get a big dose of FAFO next year. Huge dose.
Listen, there's this.
But
January morning ain't looking too good for them up
might
there.
be FAFO poisoning as far as I'm concerned.
Everybody, all of his supporters are changing their minds already, Mr. McMahon.
FAFO on 11.
Do you really feel so?
Yeah.
FAFO on 11.
It's not what I feel, you know. It's what I hear and it's what I see.
Well, for one thing, the man hasn't even started to even in office as yet. Okay?
But he acts as though he is.
He does.
Conjecture.
Yeah,
we honestly don't know.
He doesn't know there's one president at a time. Or, well, doesn't care.
Huh?
I say he doesn't care that they only have one president at a time.
No, he doesn't care. That's vintage Trump anyway. He's a maverick. He don't conform to the usual rules and so on. That's part of why he was so attractive. You know, people just like somebody who's gonna buck the system. As long as they feel the system is not working for them, anybody who bucks the system is for them a champion.
I don't know if you've seen how Elon Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy, I call him. Swamy is what I call him. Vivek Ramaswamy. The two of them are now championing H-1B visas, which means that,
right.
And a lot of the MAGA folks don't like that, because what it means is that people from India mostly are going to be able to come in and get jobs over American engineers.
Of course.
And of course, Mr. Musk is thinking about his bottom line, right? That's all he cares about. So that's another pillar of the FAFO that's coming, you know?
Yes, but that's true. But the thing is, that's a small group of elites. I think where it becomes problematic is if it seems that people are coming into the United States and taking ordinary person's jobs. We don't regard, the top tier engineers and so on as ordinary people. Those are the ones who come up with the inventions and so on. And those are the ones that really want to attract. That's why Elon Musk want to attract them, right? And actually, you know what? It's not such a bad idea, because generally that is what has made America successful. The fact that they attract the best and the brightest from overseas, okay? They attract them to the universities. A lot of research and so on is done there. And that has made America very successful, certainly in terms of competing with the rest of the world.
And ironically, Musk is one of them.
Of course, money. Huh?
I was saying ironically, Musk is one of them, which is why I guess on one level you could see why he would be for it. But I think the main level here is that he is the richest man on the planet, and he's thinking about his bottom line. Because, they can pay.
Although you can say when you're the richest man on the planet, you don't have to think about your bottom line. Your bottom line is safe. It's like a gate.
No, but even when they don't have to, they do. That's the thing.
More than he can use anyway.
Even when they don't have to, they do. I mean, take for example, I never understood why Amazon allowed themselves to fall into the PR nightmare where the drivers are talking about having to pee in bottles and so on. I'm like, you're such a big company. How much money are you really going to lose if you treat your workers like human beings? This is the thing I never got. Right. This is the thing I don't get with these rich people, these super rich people. Is it really
more is more? I guess.
I mean, an extra 2 minutes to take a pee in or whatever it is. Go do number 2. You have to pee in a bottle. I mean, what kind of? You see what I'm coming from?
That's outrageous. But you think people will stop buying Amazon for that?
No.
Exactly. They're still
but
Amazon.
I just don't understand the super rich.
That's the problem. You see, that's the problem. People personalize difficulties like those. It's not happening to them, and so they're less concerned about it. Sure, it's a PR nightmare, but it's not one.
But you saying that Musk doesn't care, but he does. I mean, he doesn't have to. Being that rich, if you pay, let's say you happen to find 55 American engineers that you can hire ahead of 100 from India. How is it going to hurt his bottom line if he pays those people what they're worth versus saving some money on the Indian ones? That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making.
It's against the grain of capitalism to do that, right? You're mixing capitalism with social justice and so on, and very often the two contradict each other.
No. What I'm saying is, if you're making that kind of money, why are you obsessing over some H-1B visas? I mean, it's not going to break your bank, correct?
No, but when you say obsessing over them, he wants them to come in, right? I think his general philosophy is, right, the best, he wants the best. And if the best happen to be in India, he wants that. Right? I honestly feel that he feels that.
So you think it's more about
the general American, the ordinary American has grown soft. They have, generally speaking, they've had too good a life, and they take it for granted, and they don't understand the sacrifices that had to be made in order to give them that, including the technological advances. And so he just wants to attract the best wherever they come from, right? And that's why I say maybe there's nothing wrong with that, because that is what helps America to maintain its preeminence in the world, certainly in terms of standard of living, technology, and all of that. Okay? It's the ordinary person, the guy who's in the farm and so on, the guy who was in the factory who makes this stuff, who might be displaced. Those are the ones, and they vote, but those are the ones who may have trouble. And I can see, I agree, I can see that if they start to realize that they're disadvantaged, that's it. You know, the midterms coming up, you'll be able to see whether or not, you know, they're doing well, certainly by midterms, because one thing you can be sure about, if it hits their pocketbook, if it hits their livelihoods, they would lose support for, Trump would lose their support right away, and it will show in the midterms. Okay, but the reason why I am less optimistic about that happening is that I honestly feel that Trump wants to succeed. If there's one sure thing about Trump, he likes to win, and winning for him, his ego is such that winning is everything, and he's not going to do things which he thinks going to jeopardize him winning. And so the things, all the outrageous things he might have said on the campaign trail, and all the tariffs and so on that he's threatening to raise and so on, even those going to be, he's going to subside with that kind of talk eventually, because he's going to realize that generally it's going to be bad for the economy, and he's going to look bad. So I am hoping that his ego would not allow him to swing the pendulum too far, that he mashes up the.
You have a lot of hope.
No. I have a lot of faith in America that somehow they're gonna, when the pendulum swings too far, they're gonna swing back. Right? I don't think they're suicidal. They might not necessarily be the smartest people in the world, but
don't let them hear you say that now. Don't let them hear you say that now.
No, but
trust me, I see the evidence.
They make, you gotta wonder.
Yeah, I see. Right? I see the evidence every day.
They are very good at common sense. Okay, very good at common sense, and they're very good at cleaning things up. That much you can say. Right.
They're very good at common sense.
I probably should take back, not the smartest thing in the world. It's probably not the smartest thing in the world to say that about them. You don't tell somebody who can blow up the world that they're not smart, right? You're asking for it.
Well, I mean, if they decided to do just that because you pointed that out, then that would make your point even more valid and pointed, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, we were all dead. We don't want that.
Well, Mr. McMahon, since Mr. Trump says he's going to deport so many people, then he needs to send back Mr. Muster Pretoria.
Or Canada.
He needs to send back Mr. Muster South Africa.
You mean send back your good friend?
But he's an immigrant too. He's an immigrant that's living the American dream. Since he wants to send home everybody, he can't just send home the Mexicans. And he has to send home his wife, and he has to send home his mother-in-law and his father-in-law as well.
Some people are more equal than others. Everybody is equal, but some are more equal than others. Right? So he closes his eyes to Musk, as he will to anybody else who he regards as somebody who supports him.
So I have some breaking news here. Trinidad and Tobago has declared a state of emergency.
Oh, I have that here to talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
This happened it says...
It doesn't says.
It
just
say?
said... Because it's a news article that surfaced around 38 minutes ago. I was just looking at it while I listened to you gentlemen talk about
the entire country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
State, you know. Trinidad and Tobago, not just Trinidad.
The president issued a letter stating as much.
And I also saw...
I wonder if it's something to do with the crime.
Yeah, I also saw an article that says 600 plus murders. Mr. Rowley saying it's unacceptable. So I don't know if maybe they had something bigger happen and that's why they're just shutting it down.
Triggered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That sounds worse than Jamaica, right? I mean,
yeah.
600 plus? Yeah, they have a big population, but
And-
nobody
and,
needs to be
yeah.
murdered like that.
And
That
there-
don't make sense.
There's gonna be
I wonder, percentage-wise, if how big it is in comparison to the other countries
yeah.
on a per capita basis, you know.
Yeah.
But
It says
apart
there'll
from
be.
that too, it's the. I mean, they tend to be very outrageous with the criminal activity down there. I mean, you hear of all sorts of really crazy things, outlandish things happening. It's not just a case where somebody just shoots somebody.
Yeah.
They got to kidnap and torture and those kinds of things. I mean, that's just.
Yeah. It says there'll be a
unacceptable for-
live briefing at 10 this morning, which will be aired on TTT Live. So,
But that sneak up on us, though. You'd think that.
yeah, it doesn't
you'd
say
have
why.
saw
but-
something coming, unless somebody
Yeah.
try the coup again, coup attempt again.
Well, as Kay said, it's probably
Overnight.
related. It's probably related to the whole crime thing. 600 plus. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Those sounds like Jamaica type numbers. Wow,
a gross
Jamaica have
amount.
1,000 and change.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Jamaica was 400 and stuff, and I
Yeah.
thought that was high. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I guess he had to do something, and but a state of emergency. Exactly what that means. You're going to have curfews after that. You can't have. I can't imagine having carnival in a state of emergency.
well, if that's what
So
it takes.
it got to be very short-lived, if anything.
Yeah, if that's what it takes to fix the
Wow.
problem, so be it. He says.
Banning carnival for a year might engender bigger problems for Trinidad. I don't know
And
the
that's what I'm
process
saying
will take.
too. Look how close their carnival is, and it's a big thing
Yeah.
for the persons that are vested in it, and state of emergency. So who knows
Yeah,
how long it's
I
going to
can't
extend
imagine them
to and
having-
for. And I'm sure people
And that's what I wondered.
paid
if
for
it
their
wasn't just
costumes
a-
already as well.
I just wondered if it wasn't a limited state of emergency in terms of a particular areas in the country or something like that, which
No.
allow them to go in and
No, it looks like shut
and do
everything down.
tough things. But it doesn't apply to the whole country.
Yeah,
I think Jamaica did something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, but then
it-
Jamaica was regional. It was like regional states.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
but they're shut down the whole country.
Yeah, and that's what's so concerning. You shut down the whole country. I mean, that must have some ripple effect somehow.
Yeah.
know,
Something's happening over there. But I'm looking at the stats, Mr. McMahon, for murders in Jamaica in 2023 and 2024. In 2024, some parishes had an uptick, but the amount is less in 2024 than it was in 2023. Because 2023, the stats that I'm finding here says 1,397. And in 2024, I know we still have 2 more days. I pray nobody gets hurt over there. It has 1,138 murders thus far.
So at least I could say it's trending down.
It's trending down, but some parishes, it went up by at least 23. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an ongoing thing where I don't know. I generally feel that the crime is tied to the economy. A lot of people don't like to do that, to tie crime to the state of the economy. But if you think about it, if an economy is thriving and people are doing well, even the criminal-minded people are doing well. They will be less inclined to take risks and engage in those kinds of things.
Yeah, but the thing
Right.
is, the criminal-minded aren't necessarily interested in wholesome, upful, honorable work, right? So,
No. Well, okay, true, but at the same time, they, like anybody else, wanna live a good life. You don't think?
yeah, they want to live a good life, but I don't think they have no qualms about doing whatever it takes to live a good life. So to me, therein lies the problem. Because sometimes these people can get jobs. Sometimes they do get jobs, and it turns out that maybe they're doing illicit activity on the side that ends up getting them in trouble, and then you have a situation where maybe the judge or even the police officer, but you have a job, or what's the problem? Oh, I'm not making enough money, or you know.
There's a difference between the run-of-the-mill criminal activity and, let's say, organized crime, right? What I'm saying is, if you have a great economy and so on, you'll probably have crime at a higher level, higher level meaning organized kind of criminal activity, as opposed to the street gang kind of stuff. That's what I'm getting at. Because the ordinary guy who is involved in street gang, in street gang, he's not doing well. He's living a really terrible life. You know, you have to be looking over his shoulder. The things you have to do to get money and that kind of thing. The mere fact that they remain in it suggests that it is not a way to become successful, to live the good life, so to speak, right? So I'm saying that if the economy improves to the point where ordinary persons like that would realize, well, there is another way that I can do this, which would prolong my life, I'll still be able to eat, etc., etc., he would be less inclined to get involved in criminal activity. Because right now, I mean, you would have seen the results of criminal activity, and he could look around and say, well, how many of us guys really doing the killing and the shooting or getting killed and so on, how many of us really making it?
I just got the reason
Here
for.
in the ghetto, we still live a miserable life. I mean, you don't think at some point they'd think about things like that?
I don't know. Their brains seem to work differently. But I just got the reason for the state of emergency. It says 4 men with AR-15s tried to kill Tyson, who is the leader of the 6th gang in front of Besson Street.
Wow.
And they ended up killing his friend who was with him.
See, I told you
So,
it had to do
yeah.
something with the next murder.
Yeah,
What did they say? What
so
kind of weapons they had?
AR-15.
That's a single incident, though, you think is enough to start a state of emergency, a whole state of emergency?
Well, because
unless they feel that it's going to be a all-out gang war or something.
That's
exactly.
just what might happen, Mr. McMahon. So they're trying to curb it before it comes to that. Because these people are not going to take a knock for a knock, you know. We know how these things go.
I would lock up all of them.
Every single one of them. Round them up.
So you know them.
No,
So
I'm
they
just
know
saying.
them.
Listen, law enforcement knows everybody that they need to pick up, okay? And I'm not saying that with water memo. They know everybody that they need to pick up. They just let them do what they have to do.
Lock them up.
Yeah.
Go round up the Tyson or whoever
Mr.
is there.
McMahon say, oh well.
Lock them up. Lock them up till April.
It's not easy to do that in a democracy. That's why I'm saying.
Well,
Exactly.
I'm
you
sorry.
can't just pick up people without
but,
having proven that they did something, and you can't hold them without having evidence of something.
I don't really.
That's the whole point. The proof, right?
I don't even agree with that.
You don't?
I feel like, let me call them misbehaviors. People like this, all bets are off when you live in that kind of you live in that kind of life. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear.
In a country where we live in a country where
but
the rule of law.
No, I understand, but you could always change the laws to suit. If you're worried about rule of law. If people engage in illegal activity, sometimes the law has to do some draconian things to get results.
What I would be worried for is, especially as it's Christmas time, what comes to mind is the Herod solution, where there's supposed to be a king that is born.
To kill all the newborn.
You don't know exactly who it is, so you just get rid of all the newborn. It would work, yes, it would work, but at what cost? And that is the problem. That is
No one
that-
is
that
saying
my
kill them.
worry.
Just get them off the street until their heads cool off, and then
Mm.
give them a stern warning, and then let them go. What's wrong with that?
Okay. All right. I guess they're afraid of what they're afraid of too is they becoming targets. Right now, it's criminals targeting criminals, right? But as soon as you start to clamp down, you might become the target for clamping down. So that is something you have to live with. You know, yes, that's part of leadership. You take the tough decisions and you bear the consequences for it. But you know, I'm sure they're thinking of their personal safety and the safety of their families and people around them. You know, as well.
Here's
It's a complicated, it's a really complex thing. Which, you know,
here's what the purveyor of the news says of the person who sent the information concerning the cause of the SOE. The current crop of gangsters, and this person used to live in Trinidad, so he knows what he's talking about. The current crop of gangsters do not have the mindset that there needs to be little to no innocent bystanders. Even here in St. Kitts, where certain killings have taken place, it's the same thing as it relates to their attitudes. He says attacks like this in Jamaica and Trinidad result in all-out war between gangs. So this is a preemptive move to head that off.
Yeah.
You seem very drastic. Though. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
a drastic
Killing-
move that
killing-
it's had because of where
Because
it's
you
happening.
realize, well, I mean, I guess.
Isn't killing someone drastic?
Well, yes, of course.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I'm
stopping
saying.
them from having an all-out war and
Exactly.
killing more innocent bystanders is necessary.
Yeah,
the SOE is necessary.
Trinidad may not be as dependent on the tourism. Could you imagine, for instance, something like that happening in a tourist country,
Like Barbados, say.
like Barbados, for instance, where overnight, you know, people just stop coming, right? I guess it's not the same thing in Trinidad, but same consequences in Trinidad. But you know, it's really very drastic that the country is going to declare a state of emergency. That is not an easy thing. I could imagine an easy decision was not an easy decision to make. I hope it's not, as was indicated, a kind of knee-jerk reaction. Listen, fed up with this thing. I've taken most drastic action possible. You know.
Yeah, he thinks it's going
Sometimes
to.
you just have to step back a bit, count to 10, wait 24 hours, and then you make your decision. Hope it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction because that's serious stuff.
Our friend thinks it's going to impact them for Carnival.
Yeah, because now if people see that, nobody's going to want to go somewhere that has a SOE. And that's what I'm saying. Some persons would have already started paying down on their costumes. Because I swear, once Trinity Carnival is done, Trinity Carnival begins again, like a month after or right after. People start doing down payments once they enjoyed what they had.
They say they make serious money outside of oil and gas in the first quarter from Carnival.
Exactly.
The hit the country will take won't be good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So Trinidad might not be.
I don't know if it would have made sense saying a state of the emergency has been declared for, let's say, 1 week or something like that, and let them do whatever police military action that they think is necessary.
Let them know it's
At least
open-ended.
people
They won't know how
that
long.
It's a finite time and not open-ended. You know, something. That's why I said I hope it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, and they should have thought things through before doing something as drastic as that. But that's tough to wake up to if you're in Trinidad.
Yeah. Can you imagine the songs are gonna? You can imagine the songs are gonna come out this week now as a result of that. No, it's true. Soca songs, calypso songs, you know.
You know something though. I always had some qualms about Trinidad. I mean, I used to go there relatively relatively often, and there was always something about Trinidad that made me feel kind of uncomfortable.
Really?
It
What?
wasn't the carnival kind of a thing, and I have been there to carnival during carnival as well. You get, because of carnival, you view, the people might view who've not been there, might view a place a particular way as, fun-loving, people, kind of thing, rum drinking and all of that. I never got that feeling, right? I always got the feeling that anything can happen at any time.
What?
crazy
That's
kind of
interesting.
feeling.
Why? Really?
Yeah.
And when was the last time you were there? When was the last time you were there and
put it
felt
this
like
way,
that?
In comparison to the other Caribbean islands,
You've been to Jamaica?
I've been to all of them. Yeah.
And you never
Okay.
felt. Oh my! And our friend is saying you're absolutely right. He used to live there, so he would know. Wow.
Yeah.
But they're telling the
Wow.
truth. I walk down the road and see a man take a woman chain off
Even
of her
in
neck.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
have to expect
yes,
anything.
it's true that I didn't go on my own. I went and thing, and usually when you're on business and so on, you're kind of protected and you go to the best areas and so on and so on. So therefore, obviously, you're not going to go to the slums and that kind of thing. Okay? But I'm talking from just walking, the walking down the street, the capital in the street, the street in the capital kind of feeling. Going down to San Fernando and walking, this kind of feeling you get, right? The craziness that you get, which I didn't get in other places.
That's where that's where my dad is from.
Just didn't get it in any other Caribbean place.
Trinidad?
Mac, you making me. At some point, I'm gonna have to go look for my siblings and so on. And family, but that is scary.
Nothing happened.
I know, but that's kind of
Just
scary
don't look too. But you saw the
maybe
picture.
It's changed now. Maybe it's because I didn't see no lot of police presence around. I don't know what it is, but there's just this.
But they had the video the other day when the representative was in the community and the guys just walked up to him and took his stuff from him. You remember that in Trinidad?
Yeah.
Imagine they know that's their representative. They just went and take what they wanted from him, off of him.
And so, as far as we know, that fire was not. There was no foul play attached to that fire, right? I don't think it didn't seem
What fire?
so. Remember the fire of the minister that died last week in the fire? You don't know about that?
No.
Yeah, the Minister of Education.
In Trinidad?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that. I didn't see that anywhere.
We didn't talk about that?
No. That's why I don't know about it.
That happened. Yeah.
Yeah, she and her two kids, she ran back into the house to get the kids.
Oh, Lord.
And the house caved in on them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then they said that they were doing investigations, which at the time made me think, I wonder if there was some foul play. But maybe that was just a routine, routine investigation. But apparently
I suppose it's an okay place. It wasn't that I was trying to call them down or anything. I was just expressing a personal what I personally felt, because nothing actually happened to me on occasions. When
I know, but I mean, I thought it was
But
interesting. I just thought it was
craziness.
interesting that what you just felt, that queasy feeling. I've never felt like that. I never felt that way in New York, Toronto, Miami, any of the other places.
And we see these places, we have to be mindful. I'm always mindful everywhere I go. When I go to Trinidad, when I used to fly, every time I went into town, I dressed down. I left my jewelry in the hotel. I put whatever little money I needed in a safe pocket in my gym tights. I went, I got what I wanted, and I sped back to the hotel as fast as I could. The one time I saw the guy rob the lady of her chain and nobody helped her.
This was Trinidad?
Yeah, on Charlotte Street. I just jet back. I went, I got my stuff, and I took like 50 different routes. And I'm over-exaggerating the amount, but I took plenty routes to be avoided because my gym attire was of a certain specification, and I didn't know if he sees.
So I can't go look for my family.
If he looked at, you can. I remember one of my church members that went to school there. She got accosted on Charlotte Street as well. They robbed her there. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that somebody else felt the same way about this thing. You get the queasiness
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I thought it might have been just me.
But Cleo
Right,
says
but-
Cleo says the same thing about Jamaica. She said just walking on Jamaica streets is scary.
When I went to the town, when I went there, I did dress down too, but it did feel weird because you felt like people. I don't know if it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but you felt like people know that you were not from there.
We're not from there.
Yeah.
They would know.
Regardless of how bummy you looked,
Hey, what's
Mr.
up?
McMahon, that's how I felt. Like they can pick me out. Although I can kind of look like a Jamaican, but the aura around me doesn't say like that's a Jamaican. Yeah.
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 Well, it's an interesting phenomenon, I think.
Even when I go to Florida, like when I used to watch telly a lot, and you see the gangs and stuff, and like we go to what it's called, this place in Miami. Oh my gosh, it's like a shopping district in Miami. It's like the Las Rio Piedras of Puerto Rico. So I can't remember the name right now. When I pass and I would see the name on the streets that I would have seen on TV where gang members got killed. And I'm like,
You
oh my
talking
God.
about Miami?
Yeah.
Not Deco Drive, no?
No, oh no, there's this place because me and my, we went to pick up some wedding attire for her sister-in-law. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I see this place on telly. And you just see these guys just sitting there and they're smoking. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
The television, I think, have a lot to do with and the news that
Putting the
queasiness
and the unease in you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Because,
remember the spot. I'll ask her.
You look at Miami Vice and you feel, boy, down there, yes, lavish lifestyle, but there's all this undertones of violence and so on. And that, I think, have a lot to do with it. The news reports coming out of anywhere tells you. It's strange. I remember going to Belize and crossing over the border to Guatemala. At that time, the Guatemala-Belize thing was still heightened. But you could still cross the border and go over and shop for souvenirs and so on. And I remember leaving Belize nice and quiet and very British and so on, feeling very safe. And the first sign there, we fear no man but God, right? And the border manned by heavily armed military people. And you get, as soon as you cross over, yes, the shops, and the first, you see the poverty, and you see the people, you could see the poverty in the people as they're trying to sell you stuff and so on. But you get, it's like a different feeling altogether. That same kind of queasiness.
And it's not like that. It's not like that in Belize.
You feel that, boy, anything can happen. These guys could just decide, you know what, we're taking after this.
So it's not like that in Belize then. So Belize doesn't have that kind of.
Well, Belize had a state of emergency the other day, but not for the entire country.
No, I'm talking about
I don't know.
the poverty and so on. That's what I meant.
I went to the entire country. I mean, the built-up areas, the capital Panama, which is inland. There's Belize City and so on. But I never got the feeling that I was in a place that Guatemala could just come over and seize at any or war can break out at any moment, right?
Wow.
But so and like I said, the border was open. You can cross the border and come back. They stamp your passport and so on, and come back over. But it's just that you're going to a totally different environment, and you're not sure about. You have to be really cautious. You're not sure. Anything can happen at any time, and so you're crazy. Maybe it is to start to what your program started with. Maybe it's the same kind of feeling when you jump on a plane. You know that anything can happen at any time. You go anywhere, but it's not the same feeling that you have when you're on sure-footed Mother Earth.
I have another comment here from our friend. He actually lived in Jamaica too. He said the difference between Jamaica and Trinidad is that the types and frequency of crimes happen any and everywhere. That doesn't happen in Jamaica like that. Certain crimes mostly happen in specific communities, but in Trinidad, nonsense happens any and everywhere.
Yep.
I wonder what that's about.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's I don't know. It's. I guess they've learned to live with it. It will be interesting to hear somebody who Trinidadian's perspective on it in relation to living there and living or who's lived in other Caribbean countries.
But you have to say at the very least, based on anecdotal evidence, that the problem with Trinidadian crime is not necessarily or not only rooted in economic hardship, because we have hardly any Trinidadians here. I mean, they don't seem to be clamoring to come here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we have hardly any Antiguans, we have hardly any Bajans, but we have tons of Jamaicans. And there's always seems to be a correlation between the economic realities of those countries. I mean, same thing with the DR, St. Vincent, I guess, Guyana.
But
What's going on then?
They're also known for what was bubble a Trinidadian term? Do you know?
Well, I heard it's an African word. I heard it's an African word. I don't know what language.
It's an African word?
Yeah, I don't know what language, but yeah.
Meaning.
It sounds like.
It has the same meaning as when we use it here.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like conky. Conky is an African word. Bamanku is an African word. Cocoa Bay is an African word.
Oh.
Some of the words that happen to survive. Yeah. Yampi. Yampi is an African word. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was shocked. I was shocked when I saw that in an African book. I was like, oh my God, that's an African word.
For some reason, people associate Trinidad with that, right? I don't know if it's from the calypsos or what, but it's as if it's something that goes on regularly there, and so it becomes just like how you talk about the smartness between the Bajans and the Chinese.
Smartness.
People are people everywhere, right? There are good people and there are bad people and so on. But it's really unfortunate when you get labeled as a country where a lot of bubble happens.
But you don't hear so much about Trinidadians now, though. Actually, you don't hear it so much now. Hold on there. There's a call.
But you get.
Hold on. Wait. You can stay on the line. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It was a caller. You can call back. I don't know what happened. That person they gave up or something. I was trying to engage the call, but then go ahead.
Yeah. Well. I mean, it's just that it's unfortunate when you get labeled when in fact there are good people everywhere and bad people everywhere.
Yeah, I'm told bubble is Trini. It's a Trini word, but yeah, it's probably an African word as far as I know.
Yeah, because it's associated with Trinidad, and
maybe it could be an Indian word too.
Connotation.
So I don't know. Also, I was wondering if it could be possibly be an Indian word, but I remember seeing somewhere that it was also an African word, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Caller, go right ahead. Hold on, Mac. Somebody's joining. Go ahead, caller.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning to you guys,
Hey,
man. How you guys doing,
what's
man?
up? Very cool.
How are you?
Yeah, I want to try to engage Mac Mahon for a minute. I want to ask him. I want to get his take on what he think about Trump trying to get back to Panama Canal, and I want him to maybe spell out maybe a few of the big item areas in the Federation he's going to be concentrating on. He wants to see addressed in the new year by the government, whatever. And I'll listen off the ear, man. All right, thanks.
Well, even before Trump, he might be resuscitating it, but even before him, they regarded the Panama Canal as their canal. That's our canal. There was actually an American politician who referred to it as our canal, even though it's in Panama. Okay.
But actually, the Americans were the ones who, you could say, created Panama. It was separated from, I remember reading, it was actually Colombia. And they separated the land. I don't remember the process that they used to, but I think the Americans are responsible for creating Panama, the country.
Well, certainly the
to
canal.
create the canal, yeah.
Certainly the canal. They built the canal. I mean, really impressive feat of engineering. I mean, if you go there and see the ships.
So it's President Theodore Roosevelt who oversaw the realization of a long-term United States goal, a Trans-Isthmian Canal.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't know why Trump would try to make an issue of the canal, especially since I think the technology is such now that you can have an alternative, whether it be whether it's a tunnel or an overland rail route. There are alternatives to it. To me, it would just be a piece of jingoism for Trump to really try and say he'll take over the plus, I don't think, not even Trump would he'll raise it, yes, but I don't think he'll do it, right? Because they're going to raise issues again about the whole relations between United States and Latin America.
Here's what it says here.
I don't think he'll do anything. He'll say it, but
maybe this is why they don't like Jimmy Carter, because he did he gave it back to them in 1999, and then the control of the canal that the U.S. had exercised since 1903.
Yeah, back then, people didn't like it one bit. That's our canal, you know.
So here's what this says. The United States supported Panama's independence from Colombia in 1903 and allowing the country to become fully independent. The U.S. also signed a treaty with Panama that gave the U.S. the right to build the Panama Canal and control the Panama Canal zone. So can that be reversed? You don't think?
Well, it can be, but for strategic reasons, it's not going to be. It's like Guantanamo in Cuba, right? What do you think is going to happen when that lease runs out?
Back to the Cubans.
I think a lot depends on the state Cuba is going to be in, whether it would have transitioned into a democracy or whether it remains as it is, right? But do you see the states giving up Guantanamo? I don't see it one bit, despite what the treaty may say. And we know that Trump has that habit. I mean, he threw up just unilaterally withdrawing from treaties that were signed before. He did it with the climate thing, agreements that we had. He did it with the Iran deal that the European Union and the West had with Iran. Just unilaterally withdraw. So when you're powerful, you can do that and get away with it. And I'm saying that a similar thing can happen with the Panama Canal. I don't think they will just go down there and seize it because it would have repercussions for the rest of the countries. You just can't do that. Plus, how would it look if the U.S. does something like that while at the same time lambasting
Russia,
Putin, right, for going into Ukraine? You know, there'd be a contradiction there. You know, and yes, I know that when it comes to real politics,
but people
don't worry about consistency.
But it's a real possibility. It's a real possibility you have to consider with Trump as president, because what I'm reading here, reading between the lines, it seems to me that while it will not go down well with the rest of the world and anti-imperialists, what I'm reading here, it seems as though they may very well have a right to decide to exercise their right to retake the canal.
What do you mean, a right to retake?
Well, not a right, but okay. 1903, Panama revolted against Colombia with U.S. support, and the U.S. paid Colombia $25 million to recognize Panama's independence. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built the Panama Canal from 1904 to 1914. They took over from France, who started building it in the 1880s, and because of financial difficulties and a lot of debts that were incurred as a result, they pulled out. So, and in 1977, the U.S. and Panama agreed to transfer the Panama Canal to Panama by the end of the century. 1989, well, the Manuel Noriega thing. 1999, the U.S. transferred the Panama Canal, the Canal Zone, and remaining U.S. military bases to Panama. So to me, that sounds like.
Of course,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right.
They went in and snapped. What is his name?
Hmm?
Is it Noriega? Noriega?
Manuel Noriega.
Right. You know, to make sure that they install a friendly person in there, and then they do that. You see, that's what I'm saying. The years when they could just do the gunboat thing and go in and just take it because it's there and we want it, those days are done. It's more subtle. It has to be done more subtly now, where just install somebody who is, pro-U.S., who gonna just take what the U.S. says anyway, and you achieve the same aims, control over the place, without having to look like some imperialist country.
I mean,
it's more nuanced now.
You can make the case.
I don't think he's gonna do something as drastic as just go in and take it over.
You can make the case.
Probably, even if it's money involved, he probably just get Panama to do whatever he wants them to do. And I'm not sure what exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it has to be true boots on the ground or anything. I mean,
right.
And
exactly.
listen, and there are. You could argue that there are some compelling reasons to want to do so. The Chinese threat. Do you know?
What is the compelling reason?
Well, I'm giving you. I'm giving you the reason. You know that. You know that. What's his name? Oh God, what's that guy's name? That guy that the Americans have had. There's been bad blood between them forever. Oh my God. What's his name? He's the president of
Venezuela. The guy in Venezuela.
No Central American countries.
In Central America.
What's his name again?
For Nicaragua.
Yes.
Nicaragua.
Yeah. Do you know?
I know.
Do you know that the Chinese actually were considering building another canal through Nicaragua? I think that fell through because
Ortega is his name.
Yeah. Ortega, yeah.
Daniel Ortega.
That's what I was trying to remember. But the Chinese were considering building another canal just a few years ago through Guatemala, but that fell through because of environmental reasons and basically opposition from the citizenry and so on. Because the Chinese are intent on getting a significant foothold in the Americas,
right?
And you have to realize that if they manage to let's say build another canal, a whole other canal, that would be a significant foothold, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something the Americans are going to take lying now.
Yeah. Oh no. Definitely not. But how does taking over the Panama Canal change that?
Well, it means that they'll be calling the shots, and the Chinese wouldn't be able to do as they like. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's that's how.
No, it would just be a competing thing. I think. I don't know if the Panama Canal, when it was built, it can only take a finite size of ship, and the kinds of ships that they have right now, I think is inadequate for them, right? So there may be a need to build another one. Okay, and
no, they just have to make the locks bigger. That's what they did. I know they just did that, completed that a few years ago. To take the Panamax ships, I know they were thinking of making ships bigger than the Panamax ships. The locks were upgraded to take the Panamax ships, which are like the largest tankers and freighters.
Okay.
But
all right, but I think they have a water problem too, because remember part of the canal is a lake.
Yeah.
Is a lake, and the ships have to be able to navigate through that lake to get to the locks on the other side. So there's that as well. But I don't think it's a big engineering feat now to
do any of that stuff. If you could do that back in the 1880s, it's crazy to me that they could do that stuff back.
In that time,
wow.
It would have been, it would have been a big deal. But Trump gonna behave himself, man. Don't worry. You're not gonna just be going.
You think so?
Taking people's stuff and so on. Yeah.
You think so?
Okay. No. Look, Trump wants to go down in history as a successful president. I don't think he achieved that in his first term, right?
So here's my thinking though.
I feel that he's gonna behave.
I was doing a thought experiment a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, with reference to the Ukraine war, and I actually think, given what you just said, because I was thinking the same thing I was saying, something tells me that Trump might do an about turn on Ukraine with his legacy in mind. Yeah. And also when you consider that his military brass is going to be telling him, regardless of what you think, this is not a good idea to be aiding and abetting Putin.
Yeah.
And this is going to be bad for NATO and bad for the world, and probably point to World War I and World War II as examples of what happens when you give, World War II mostly, if you give Russia free reign, right? And I have a feeling, I could be wrong, I actually saw an essay to this effect too. I
think too that he feels that the real threat is China. How you say it? China.
China.
No, he don't say it like that. He say China.
Russia is a sideline. He would prefer not to have to deal with Russia and China as friends, right? He prefer clear up this Europe thing. You're all Europeans up there, behave yourselves, and they include Russia with that. And let's deal with China. China is who you regard, I think.
Here's another thing that I thought about. You remember how in his first term, he seemed to be kind of cowed by Putin and so on, and there was speculation that Putin has stuff on him. But here's what I think. No, I could be wrong, but here's what I think. This is his last term as president, right? I kind of think that, given with his legacy and so on in mind, his giant ego, I don't think he cares. He's already proven that no matter what he does, people are still going to love him. So I actually have a feeling that he's probably not going to make Putin very happy next year, because he may not be the Putin bootlicker he was in his first term, because he wants to burnish his legacy. Two, no matter what I do, no one's going to care. They're still going to love me. So I'm going to do the right thing and go down in history as the president that put the smackdown on Putin and Russia.
No, but
I might be wrong.
One of the hallmarks of his first thing, though, right, is that he became known as somebody who's going to do what he says, right? Whether it be what he did with the Supreme Court, and
he's already backed off on the price thing. He said it's very hard to bring prices down when they go up. So what else is he gonna back off of?
No. But what I'm saying is, he's on record as saying that he's gonna end the war in 24 hours or something like that. I think it would do more for his legacy if he's able to come to some kind of settlement of that war. If he go down as the person who ended that war.
Yeah, that's
as
what I'm
opposed
saying.
To somebody who
That's what I'm
continued-
saying.
Yeah.
You're with me, but the only thing is,
No. But remember that.
but not at the expense of not at the expense of Ukraine. I don't think Ukraine should have to give up any territory. I think Putin needs to eat this one.
Well, the thing is, they already have given up, basically given up on Crimea. Okay? I doubt that, I feel that if they're going to lose some of their territory, as long as there's for instance, an agreement that says, well, the rest of Ukraine can join NATO and so on, but we have this buffer territory that is non-militarized and so on. I think they want a buffer against the West. Russia is very paranoid about Western intentions, right? And that was the problem. They saw the West gradually taking in some of what used to be satellite countries of Russia.
No, but these people,
right?
these people wanted to join NATO. No one was coercing them to join NATO.
No one was coercing them, but Russia saw that as a threat, right? Yeah, I mean,
but you would think the lesson they would have taken from that is that these people
closer and closer. You must feel threatened.
Feel threatened? Why?
I mean, why?
So how are they not threatened by Finland, who joined because of their aggression against Ukraine? Finland and Sweden finally joined. Finland has an 820 something mile border with Russia.
They were concerned about. Of course, they don't want to be next on the thing of Russia invading.
Exactly. So how is this lost on Mr. Putin?
But Ukraine, remember, Ukraine was essentially, Finland and those countries were never part of the USSR. Ukraine was.
Yes, but
right?
no,
and so I don't think that they definitely felt threatened by Ukraine. Plus, Ukraine had the capability of nuclear weapons. Yeah, nuclear weapon right on your doorstep.
Which they gave up.
Which they gave up, but they could easily still had nuclear reactors and so on. They still could manufacture them if they wanted to. They must feel threatened. It's just like the Americans felt threatened with Russian nuclear missiles in Cuba, right on your doorstep. How do you expect Russia to feel? Russia was invaded twice in the world wars. They're paranoid, just like how Israel is paranoid right now with things. And when you have a people that is paranoid, they're going to do things like that.
Yeah, but why are totalitarians? Why are totalitarians and authoritarians always paranoid? Don't you find that interesting?
Yeah,
if your system is so great, and you don't stop to think that you're ramming your system down your citizens' throats, right? Yet, and you paranoid. I mean, you must be paranoid for a reason, because you know that your system is not something that and your citizens would accept willingly.
But you always wonder though. At one point, you used to be paranoid against. You had the communist regime in China. Would you call China communist still?
I've seen I saw an economist call it. He calls it. An economist calls it. He said they call it control capitalism or authoritarian capitalism, something like that.
Whatever you want to call it. But they're done on right capitalism
because
now.
Technically it's fascism, right? Technically, China is a fascist country. In a sense.
I guess. Strangely, yes. Although
that was one of the terms. The guy was bandying around.
Right-wing countries.
Yeah.
Like Italy in the World War and so on. right-wing countries. But they're definitely not democratic, right? China is definitely not democratic, but they are capitalists. They are capitalists, right? And you wonder how is it they're able to survive how the system is able to survive not being democratic. This whole mass of people not being democratic, but yet they at least for a time at least, I mean, they were doing extremely well, right? And it's the counter to the Western democracy that I think they are fearful of, that the Chinese model may become attractive to a lot of the emerging countries, whether in Africa or the South countries.
I doubt that.
South America and
You
so
think
on.
so?
They're mortally afraid of that. If China had maintained its growth rate and that kind of thing, and had become the number one dominant economic power in the world, you don't think that would have huge consequences? I mean, we would still continue to be attracted to America because it's right next door. But all those countries in the Middle East, in Asia and so on, China and not the United States would become the magnet, you know? And of course, that would not go down well. Because although they tend to be isolationists sometimes, I still think that they like to think of themselves as never ever giving up the hegemony in the world, the leadership role in the world. As much as they tend to look inward sometimes. You know? They like the idea of being number one, and anything that threatens that, they're going to have a fight on their hands. I think that's where we're at right now. You know, that's where we are. But it would be interesting to see if China continued on the path that it did, and if for instance, by some means, it become reunited with Taiwan, that would be a game changer, I think.
But
you know?
they're not going to reunite?
That would be a game changer in the world.
Are they? I don't think they're going to reunite. Everybody wants to run their own ship. Just like how I have a comment here that says the canal is one of the most strategic points in the world because of the efficiency it provides for shipping. Anyone who controls that has the most sway over the world.
Yeah.
And there's also another comment that says the reason why Trump was voted in is because he doesn't care and enables a lot of ignorance that the U.S. stands for and empowers their stupidity. He has done so much and couldn't care less about the optics. Why would he care about how it looks to take over the canal?
Exactly.
Granted, there are a lot of Americans who do not stand with him, obviously, but what needs to be noted is just how much of them do. The fact that the Republican Party is now split into two factions, Republicans and Trump supporters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think Trump has done a good job of I don't know if reunifying or unifying the party.
Are you serious? No.
But
not unifying.
But he's the dominant. But he's the dominant factor now.
But you can't call it you can't call it unifying.
Unifying, they call it united. But he's the dominant factor. And if you have somebody that's dominant like how he is, where everybody, even the moderates, are afraid of him, or have been marginalized, it's de facto unification. You know, because they're not challenged. Nobody there to challenge it. You know? But I still feel that Trump wants to go down in history as a good president, and so he's not going to be this wayward, bull in a china shop kind of thing. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
But do you really think he's going to surround himself with, I mean, you know, based on his stated aim to rid the government of what they call the deep state. You really think that there are going to be people around him who can make him see reason and be the adults in the room when he, he tries to exercise his baser impulses? I mean,
I mean, some of his choices don't indicate that, eh? But I honestly feel that even though the president in America has a lot of power, there are other power centers in America which would not, like I said, allow the pendulum to swing too far. If things look like they're getting out of hand, maybe it's the deep state that they always rail about. I don't know. Maybe there are some wise men behind the scenes really
because
the puppet masters.
One of the things I always thought.
I don't think America is going to self-implode. I don't think they're going to do anything to I think they're going to do everything to maintain their leadership in the world. And if they see, and the good thing about the American system is that it's not like China or communist system where it hangs on to rigid dogma, right? America changes, are very adaptable. That's one thing about them. They're resilient, and they're innovative, they're adaptable to stuff, and that is why I think they still remain, probably retain the leadership in the world.
And I have this theory.
Despite Trump.
Yeah. I had this theory.
He's only 4 years, eh? Remember, he's only 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I had this theory during that 4 years. I had this theory during this 4 years that I remember at first people like Kelly and McMaster and Madden and all these people. I thought, why would these guys wanna, and Millie and all these people, a lot of M's for some reason. I always thought, why would these people? But I have a theory that a lot of these people wanted to be the adult in the room. Bolton and all of these people wanted to be the adult in the room and sort of like official foils. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To dull and dampen his id and his crazy impulses. I feel like that was part of it. It wasn't so much that they were so enamored with him and his politics. Yeah.
All of them came out and were anti-Trump, right? And basically, the American public just ignore all of them. Just ignore what they were saying about his unsuitability as president, okay? And just went with their gut feeling that, boy, things going to be better under Trump. You know?
Wouldn't you consider that a stripe, a kind of a stripe of anti-intellectualism? That has always, because here you have and a sort of.
How is it going to be? And I argue this all the time. He came in and met a good 8-year solid economy. The economy does not seem to have caught itself from since 2020. So let's see how much Trump is going to make them feel better about life in this term. Let's see. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, well, I don't think the president has that much of an effect on the economy.
Exactly.
As usual.
Exactly.
They feel that.
Economic factors, right?
They feel that.
I think that the economy is going to take its course, and they can think around the edges, but generally speaking, you have the usual cycles and so on. Okay, so I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm more worried about his adventurism. In, like, for instance, what the person mentioned about the Panama Canal and so on, where he feels that, well, America was great when we had that, when we were controlling that. Let's get back to that again. You know, America was great when they did such and such a thing, outrageous though it was. So let's do that again. Okay? The immigration question, I think there's a basic instinct in him which tells him that he feels that, well, we're better with immigrants from Western countries and so on. Okay? South America, not so much. There's a kind of jingoistic patronizing system that they have towards South America. Same kind of thing with Africa and so on, which is underlying a lot of what he's talking about, immigration. And I think the average white American, feel that way as well. Okay, and so they go along with him with that. Those kinds of things, I think he gonna tinker with and do to kind of placate the ordinary American, because they really feel that they're threatened by immigration. I can't see America being threatened by immigrants. They've had immigration from ever since.
Forever. Immigrants built
and they've still done well. Yeah. I don't understand why they feel all of a sudden
they need to send them home.
Yeah. That don't make no sense.
None whatsoever. Get them documented, or for those who don't want to be documented and hiding and playing bad, those you send home. But you can't send home the average person that's contributing to your economy.
Anything, stop. Okay then, stop it, slow it down, whatever.
Exactly.
But people done there already, settled into what they're doing.
Exactly.
You know?
And now you want, but you're sending home, and them is some of the same people that picking your fruits, cleaning up your golf course, etc., etc., etc. But now all of a sudden, send home Elon Musk and see how much money you have. Send him home.
Well, you know what would be interesting? If, as part of this, they don't look for all the homeless people on the street, right? And pick and figure out, well, where exactly these people from, and if they're not U.S. citizens, they can send them home too, right? That will be part of their cleanup. I think they do something. That's something those Republicans would do, and they ain't feel one iota of
empathy,
of sympathy about.
Okay, well,
you know, but
that's them.
I honestly feel they'll do something like that.
I see there's a next comment here that says, basically, Mr. Trump stays true to his nature. The person said, I understand your point, but he's a narcissist. He always wants to be seen as the most powerful in every sense of the word. The puppet master comment is why Trump is so dangerous, because he doesn't answer to those puppet masters. He works with them in his interests, hence his narcissistic nature.
But the puppet masters have power. It is like they're just...
Yeah, but he don't bother with them. He still dances his own tune.
You can't ignore them.
Yeah, but he still dances his own tune.
They can break you. They can make you, and they make you, but they can also break you.
And that we know for sure. So but he doesn't seem to be aware of that. I think he feels he's above them, and he doesn't care what they.
He can feel whatever he wants to feel, but the hard reality is, these people have power. Right. That's the whole point. They do have power. They're not just figureheads there. Yes, they stay in the background, but they run things. I honestly feel that they run things. It's not all about Trump. Trump by himself can't
they run things, but is he going to listen to everything they say and do everything that they expect or want him to do? He's an out-of-hand individual, and he's not going to do everything.
But if he does that, and just does things his way and his way only,
they're going to take him out quick?
Into problems. That's the whole point.
Let's wait and see.
Whether it is from, because remember, at least in the American system, they have checks and balances, you know. Whether it be the Congress, both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the people in there can't stop Trump in his tracks, you know. And if it is not they will be wielding the puppet strings over Trump, but they can wield it in Congress. And Trump can't do anything. As strong as he is, right? Executive action could only go so much. As strong as he is, he's going to need Congress. It's usually easier when Congress is comprised of people who, well, basically if they is the same party as the president, okay? But it doesn't go without saying. I mean, people in Congress have been known to go down their own path for their own strategic reasons, right? So it is not as simple as just as Trump just railroading things and doing as he likes, I don't think, right? That is why I feel that there will be a tempering influence on by the Congress, even the judiciary. Yes, they're pro his thing now, but if things really get outrageous, even they can intervene on things and change their decisions and so on. Sure, things like abortion and so on, those are social stuff which have very little impact on people's living standards and so on, okay? But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, that is the pocketbook of the ordinary American, if they start to see things like that being affected by decisions Trump make, I bet they pull him back. They pull him back so far to get funny. He'll wonder what hit him. So, I mean, you're not going to get away with just being Trump.
And I hope so.
And Trump trumping everything, so to speak.
It's going to be interesting to see what the midterm looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's in 2 years. That's why I say we don't have to worry. He just has 4 years. Yes, he can do a lot of damage in 4 years. But then the midterms are in 2 years.
You might try to stay on.
If you start to do stuff, and they normally try to do stuff very quickly in the term, right, rather than wait towards the end of term when they're lame duck. They tend to do stuff very quickly that they won't get done. And so if the American people don't like it, bet your life is going to show up in the midterm. So I wouldn't worry, to be quite honest.
I don't really have any sympathy for them right now.
Yeah, well,
like I said,
they're the leader in the world. They can hurt you
like
if
I
they want. So you might not have sympathy, but you better have some respect.
FAFO has to be paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh?
I'll say FAFO has to be paid. It's coming big time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, guys.
Okay, man.
Nice
have a great day.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
All right, then.
Yeah. So yeah, we can shut it down. Mr. Trump, and we didn't even talk about the TikTok thing.
TikTok?
The TikTok ban goes into effect the day before he gets sworn in, and he's actually been trying to tell the Supreme Court to all of a sudden now he's pro TikTok because he thinks that they may have helped him win.
Oh, so he wants it to stay?
Yeah, strange guy.
I cannot. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But there's carnival in so I want to highlight two things before we go. There's carnival in Montserrat, so congratulations to the new queen. Whoa, I almost said the wrong thing.
Did anyone from St. Kitts go?
Not that I know of. So the new queen is Maricia Barzi. And congratulations to Lyrical 2 and The Vicious. They win the Jump Up Soca Monarch again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and Rihanna Heilinger, she got second prize for her compelling artistic representation of renewable energy in the OECS competition. So St. Kitts is on the maps and the chart again.
You mean a Kittitian?
No, not in Montserrat. This is something else.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
She did a compelling artistic representation of renewable energy in the OECS competition that they have.
Oh, okay.
And she got second, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Rihanna.
Yeah, and to all other contestants back to Montserrat that were in the show, commiserations, and be safe for the carnival.
Yeah. Montserrat Carnival. Huh?
And be careful of the seas as well. There's a warning out for Anguilla, BVI, Barbuda until Tuesday, Antigua and St. Kitts for the swells for today, and Barbuda, as I said, for tomorrow.
Okay.
So be careful,
Rough
please.
seas?
Rough seas, yes. They say the currents are that strong that they can pull an excellent swimmer out. So don't think you can fight Mother Nature. She's the boss.
I can't swim, so.
No.
Not going to be in any danger.
You're not going close to the seas.
Ironically, yeah.
Alrighty. So we had a whole interesting discussion on everything today.
Yeah, we got to talk about music festival tomorrow. Someone here just pointed out. Yeah, so many things, huh?
I had it here, you know.
Yeah, we could
But
do that
it
tomorrow.
didn't. So I'm going to tick off everything that we did today. Yeah, I have music festival early launch of artists. I wanted to know what folks thought of that. Yeah, so I'm going to tick off everything that we did.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just wondering who the other bookings will be. Because
You think you didn't? I thought maybe that was all, but there's more.
yeah, that's just the first wave.
And I want to know what do people think about some of the repeats. Yeah. So
Repeats?
we're gonna.
We have repeats there?
Yeah.
Like who? Vibes Cartel?
Shensia.
Shensia. She was here like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. We always have repeats, so I want to know what do they think about the repeats.
that goes to the territory, I think, a music festival.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, take for example, like the oh God, what's it called again?
Did that already.
There's a music festival that happens in Atlanta every year. I forgot, and they used to have Maze and Frankie Beverly every single year. So there's really nothing wrong with it.
No, but I just want to know how the people are thinking. It's just a conversation to be had.
But that's a separate issue from people who don't necessarily really know what they're doing. But I'm not gonna go there now.
Okay, well, we're not going to go there, period.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave that out. Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of thought doesn't really go. I think sometimes a lot of thought doesn't go into who gets selected. It's like somebody has 1-2 songs. Oh, let's bring that person.
Oh,
And sometimes it
relevant
doesn't.
songs.
Yeah.
Or songs that people are going to jam to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
so
know,
relevant.
So sometimes.
Relevance has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Well, kudos to them for releasing early. I'm happy, and they're doing it just like how just like how Carnival was doing it in music festivals. I said, wow, whoever's behind marketing, I'm happy for you.
And you see, Mass Dominic is advertising during our carnival.
Of course, because we Montserrat has Carnival now, St. Croix has Carnival now, Bahamas has Carnival now. Yeah.
No, Bahamas is.
I swear I saw Bahamas on Turks and Caicos. Let me make sure.
No,
Hold
those
on.
are like up in the.
No, they actually have
early
Christmas
summer.
Carnival. Hold up.
I'm pretty sure.
Unless it's something else.
I'm even thinking about Caymans.
No. You're thinking about somebody that ain't.
No, Bahamas Carnival is. I'm pretty sure it's like early summer or something.
It says Montserrat Carnival, December 16th to January 1st. St. Croix, Crucian Christmas Carnival, December the 18th to January 7th. Bahamas Junk Canoe, December 26th to January 1st. Turks and Caicos Junk Canoe Jump Up, December the 31st to January 1st.
Oh, what about Caymans?
No Cayman in there.
You
Those
should-
are all the other people that we share Carnival with. I can Google that, but no Caymans in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so see you tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed. And folks,
Okay.
come back. Remember, we're going to talk about the music festival tomorrow, so save your thoughts, your opinions.
And other stuff.
Let us have a great discussion tomorrow.
And we may have other news. We definitely will have more news
Yeah.
about Trinidad and so on.
Yeah.
What's going on
And be
there.
careful of the norovirus. Wash your hands. Cover your face with your mask. Be good to yourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner,